Everybody, hello. Everybody, hello, everybody. Hi. Welcome to the final video in my navigation series. This is going to cover just a single category, upgrades and inventory. It's a big category, so there's a lot to cover. Let's get started so I don't make another 40 some odd minute video. I'm going to start up at the top with view, sell items, and vault. This is all of your stuff. This is your inventory. So there's 5 categories: equipment, abilities, record materia, magicite, and miscellaneous. You have a limited number of slots, as you can see with your held max right here. You can get more slots by spending 1 mithril or 100 gems, and each of those that you spend gets you 5 additional slots. At some point you're probably going to need to spend mithril on that. Unless you're extremely ruthless with your gear and get rid of everything. But it's good to have a range of stuff. So, you have 3 subcategories in equipment. You have weapons, armor, accessories. You can sort them by various categories. Most of these aren't super useful. Type you probably never use. Series is kind of useful if you're gearing up for synergy, but synergy stuff, if you're actually in the dungeons where the stuff gains synergy, it adds on its bonuses anyways. Rarity is not super useful. Level is not super useful. Attack, defense, magic, resistance, mine, those are pretty useful. Attack, mag, and mine being the most useful. You can sort them by descending or ascending order. Descending is probably the most useful because you want your best stuff on top. So if you do attack, you see the gear sorts by attack and tells you what the attack is. So it's nice, you can see how strong these weapons are. Another category, augment rank isn't very useful. Soul break, kind of interesting because you can sort by unmastered soul breaks, so you can look at what soul breaks you haven't mastered yet. It can help you out quite a bit. Materia is the same, you can see your unmastered ones. Boost element's an important category because you can choose an element and see what gear you have that boosts it. This is going to be your best endgame gear once you've gotten to the point where you can get to stat soft cap. Oh my god. Stat soft caps pretty easily. This stuff can overcome those caps because the stat soft caps and damage caps are different. There are a bunch of explanations for that probably do a way better job than I could. I'll probably do a video that'll help sort that out at a later date. Anyways, so you can see we sorted by fire boost. You can see all of my weapons here that boost fire. You can see armor that boosts fire. Accessories to this point do not have element boosts. Then we have resist element. This is also important. Especially for magicite dungeons. So weapons, to the best of my knowledge, never have resistances. You can see I have 1 fire resistant piece of armor. Most of your resistance is going to come from accessories. You can see I have a major piece, which everybody will get access to that series of accessories that give major resistance to 1 element. Sadly, you only get 1. And then a bunch of moderates. Okay. Inflict debuff. Almost never going to be relevant. So, yeah, not much to say about that. Resist debuff, on the other hand, resisting various status ailments is a big thing. Particularly things like petrify and instant KO and stop. Those are really bad. Paralyze is pretty awful. Depending on what you're running, silence or blind can ruin your day. So you can see what protects against those. Again, weapons, best of my knowledge. Actually, no, that's not true. Huh. So if we look at silence, there's actually a few weapons that have some resistances. It's pretty rare, though. definitely more common on armor and, of course, accessories. And yeah, instant KO is really good because it protects against two things. Instant KO, of course, things that kill you instantly, but it also protects against gravity-based stuff. So things that cut your HP by a certain percentage, it's resisted by instant KO stuff. So yeah, you want to try to get a full set of instant KO resist. It's good for you. Anyways, that's all the gear categories. I usually go by gained just to keep track of what I've gotten most recently. But yeah, that's just me. You can toggle display to look at the name and what realm it comes from, how high augmented it is, and then the typical display. You can stash stuff in your vault, and I'm not sure that there's an upper limit, but you can tap probably up to 10 things. Yeah. And then you could send them to your vault. You could also mass lock things. I interrupted myself. If you tap and hold on anything, you can get more information about it. That's a really good thing to mention here in the inventory. So you can see this weapon's attack mag, its level, its augment, its rarity, what type of weapon it is, who the soul break belongs to, any other things like element boosts, or whether it's a ranged weapon, and then the detail about the soul break itself. And then there's this little thing up here, the lock and unlock button. It's a good idea to lock your stuff so you don't accidentally sell it or use it for augmentation or whatever. Don't want to get rid of your good stuff. And that's pretty much the same for each category. So abilities. Abilities. This menu you won't use as much other than maybe the get more slots, because there's a whole nother set of menus for interacting with your abilities. This is basically just a list of them. Again, you can toggle the display, lock them. But yeah, you'll use an ability menu elsewhere more often. Record materia, you have no... there's no limit to how many record materia you can hold in your inventory or your vault. You might wonder why you want to stash it in the vault. There's this toggle display, but there's only 2 settings there. Stashing them in your vault is a good idea because this menu is going to get clogged up, and when you're going to equip the materia you actually want to use, you find yourself sifting through a bunch of ones you don't use. So take all those crappy ones, and there's a lot of crappy ones, stash them in your vault. Never think of them again. Magicite. Again, there's a whole menu for interacting with your magicites. Here you can toggle display and get more slots. Toggle display is not very useful, just giving you the name and realm. You can stash them in the vault, you can lock them, you can sort them by various categories. Element is probably the most useful, but hey, there's a whole bunch of ones. And again, you'll interact with your magicites more in another menu. Miscellaneous. So you have orbs. Orb. Orbs are used for creating and upgrading your abilities. There's 6 rarities of orbs, as denoted by the stars, and they are used for creating abilities of the same rarity. Okay, and there's a whole bunch of different types, and they all correspond to different characteristics. And then there's also these nightmare records, which are used to create the nightmare abilities, which we talked briefly about before. So yeah, upgrade materials, you have a couple different kinds. Yellow stuff here, there's 5 rarities of these different kinds, but yellow stuff is scarletite. It's used for upgrading weapons. You can use it for armor, but it gives less XP to your armor than it does to weapons, so not advised. For armor, you have the purple stuff, adamantite. And then we have dark matter, which is used to reforge a piece of 5-star equipment that has been combined twice. So you can combine identical, basically duplicates you have, up to 2 times. So you could merge 2 pieces and then merge that with a 3rd piece. And then this lets you upgrade it 1 further time for the cost of 1 dark matter and a whole schwack load of gil. Definitely late game activities there. It costs a lot. You also have Arcana, and this is used to give XP to Magicites. Magicites will gain XP in battle, but it can take a while to level them up, and this is helpful for fast levels. Ugh. And then go away. Oh my god. Fuck. Okay, sorry. Interruptions from text from my cousin. Anyways, growth eggs. These are basically the same as those Arcana, but these are for characters. They give XP to characters. Different rarities, the higher rarities give more XP. This is for fast leveling your characters, who again will get XP during battle, but sometimes you need them built up fast. Crystal Water is a new addition. It is something that came with the record dungeons in the last update, and it simply lets you apply 1 point bonus to various stats or 40 point bonuses to HP. You can use each one 10 times on a character, or each type 10 times on a character. So that's a total of 10 to each of their stats and 400 to their HP. Just a little cool upgrade. Very nice. Memory crystals, we covered a little bit. So each character at level 50, 65, and 80 will need to have their level cap broken, and you use memory crystals to do that. So you have 3 rarities. Memory crystals are for level 50, memory crystal 2s are for level 65, and memory crystal 3s are for 80. The 1s and 2s, you will get character-specific ones through events. So as long as you've got the characters and you're doing the events and you get their memory crystals, you shouldn't have to worry too much about getting blank ones and trading them in there, but that is an availability. Memory crystal 3s largely only come as blanks, and there's usually only 1 available per event, so you're going to get those at a slower rate. So you're going to want to think pretty hard about who you break that 80 cap with. At least at first. I mean, there are times where you get multiples, events and things like that, or not events, but like fests and things like that. And yeah, eventually you'll probably get a surplus. I have a surplus, and I have over 100 characters at 99. So yeah, not a huge concern, but at first it might be a little tricky to figure out who to use them on. Moats, you have a couple varieties of moats, and they each have a couple rarities. These are used to unlock your character's record spheres and legend spheres, which at level 65 you'll gain access to, or rather a character will gain access to, and they offer little stat bonuses and damage buffs, and sometimes unlocking new ability schools or higher tier ability schools. So they're cool stuff to invest in on your favorite characters. So you have Spirit Moats, Dex Moats, Vitality Moats, Wisdom Moats, and Bravery Moats. There's also Job School Moats for a couple different job schools, like Spellblade, Dragoon, Monk, etc. Characters that have access to rank 5 in that ability school can have these moats used on them, which are limited supply, and they unlock the ability to use a 6-star ability from that school, of which currently there's only 1 each, and some of them are good, some of them are really good, some of them are okay, some of them are situational, and some of them are just not so good. There's also Onion Knight moats, which you will need if you are planning on using Onion Knight. They unlock Onion Knight's full powers, and Onion Knight with the right soul breaks, there's 3 really good soul breaks for Onion Knight, and definitely a top tier character with some of those soul breaks. Okay, so let's go to Vault. Vault is your storage. Stuff in your vault your characters do not have access to. You can expand your vault spaces. Now, this is 50 vault slots for 1 mithril or 100 gems. So it's more economical than the 5 slots you get from inventory. But again, you got to keep in mind anything in here is not accessible. You'll need to manually pull it out of the vault to be able to use it. You can store your weapons and armor and accessories. Your record materia, which has no upper limit. So throw all your crap in there. And magicite. And I store my lower tier magicites in there, 4 copies of each, because I plan on one day leveling 1 of each magicite up just for completion's sake. I guess it's probably never going to happen. Enough of that. Talked enough of that. So, heroes. You have 5 little categories. Growth eggs, break level cap, wardrobe records, record spheres, crystal water. Growth eggs we've talked about. This is the menu where you use them. Straightforward. So let's go find a character that isn't 99 yet, because like I said, I got quite a few. Let's do Noctis. Let's feed him some eggs. Eat egg. So if you go to Optimize, it picks an optimal selection of eggs, so you waste the least amount of eggs. You could put them in manually. You can clear selection down in the lower left, but let's just do Optimize because I got a lot of eggs, so who really cares how many of each I use? We're gonna knock Noctis's level up to 80. So it shows you the stat gains he's gonna get, blah blah blah, how many eggs you're gonna use, how much XP he's gaining. Use growth eggs. And you can just close the menu and it'll do it. You don't have to sit there and wait through all of those. So he's at 80. You can't give him any more eggs. And that's how that works. Pretty easy. So let's go to break level cap. When you have a character that is at a cap, whether it's 50, 65, or 80, they're going to show up as available in the upper left corner there. You could sort it a couple different ways, but I mean that's not really helpful in this menu, so let's just go ahead and tap on Noctis. It says Noctis, Memory Crystal 3. Yes, I do have one of those. His was one of the few that I didn't have to spend a blank crystal on because it came in his event when he was the sole 15 character. So let's break his level cap. And it'll show you recently unlocked record materia. So at 50, you get a free record materia. At 65, you unlock the ability to have one randomly drop in battle. And at 80, if you've got that 65 one, you'll have a level 99 one drop once he hits 99. Now, there are a few characters that have 4. And sometimes they have special conditions like you need to use them in their own realm and have it randomly drop, or even in a specific realm dungeon, like Cloud has one of those. So you always want to check the number of record materia and what the criterion are for them dropping. Anyways, that's how you break level caps. Again, simple, easy. So after that, we have wardrobe records. Wardrobe records are occasionally released with events. They recur on occasion. They have no impact on gameplay. They're purely cosmetic. And they just basically give your characters another skin. So I could switch Cecil here to his Cosmic Paladin, which is based off of his official Amano artwork. But I kind of like the classic sprites, so I'm sticking with that. Some characters, like Cloud, have multiples, like his basic, or Cloudy Wolf, that's based off of his Advent Children appearance. And then there's Kingdom Hearts Cloud with his cool red cape. I like it, so that's what we're going with. And yeah, bunch of characters have them. I think I have them all unlocked. I've been pretty lucky and got them all from events. They, like I said, they recur, so there should be a chance to get your faves. But again, no gameplay impact. Record spheres, on the other hand, do have a gameplay impact. So they let you upgrade your characters once you hit 65, like I mentioned before. There's a couple different tiers, so the top row is one tier. You can see Warrior, Monk, and Thief there. And they offer little stat bonuses. There's 5 levels each. It takes an increasing amount of motes to unlock each level. So the first level, this one takes 2 Vitality and 3 Bravery, and then second level is 4 and 6. I think it just doubles each time. Or no, it just adds on each time. So it can get expensive. So the first row takes 3-star motes. That's this bunch. And you get lots of 3-star motes. You get them through events and various other things. You can buy them from the Geisel shop. Should be pretty easy to unlock that stuff. This row takes 4-star motes, which are in shorter supply. So you're going to want to use 4-star motes on characters you use a lot. And they offer better stat bonuses. They offer ability damage increases. They offer increases to damage for using certain weapon types. Sometimes they unlock ability schools. And then once you have all of these filled up, you can access the Legend Sphere. Legend Spheres use 5-star motes, which are in extremely short supply, and always take 2 different types, and it will require 100 of each of those types to fully unlock. Now the advantage, you get some nice bonuses and resists, but you get legend materia. And different characters' legend materia are definitely in different tiers. So you're gonna want to think hard about whether they're worth unlocking, and especially if you have good soul breaks for a character, you want to check and see if they're worth diving or not. Something you could probably look up somewhere, because there's a lot of various thoughts on whether a character is worth it or not. Now here's one of those ability school spheres, Aegis Strike Sphere. So this is for the 6-star Knight ability. It costs 1 job mote of that job to unlock the sphere itself. Then it costs 4 to unlock the use of that tier of abilities. And then it costs 10 to actually create the ability. Although if you've already created it with another character, simply unlocking it on a second character will let them use that already created one. And then there's the third level, which is really not something I could recommend. It costs 15 and gives a 3% bonus to that ability type. It's a bit steep given how short supplied these motes are. And some characters have access to a lot of them, like, let's go look down here. Basically, any of these abilities that they have at rank 5, they can get the 6-star, like Orlando here, who has Aegis Strike, the Knight ability, Demon's Blood, the Samurai, and Snow Spell Strike, the Spellblade. That's pretty cool. So that's what Record Spheres are all about. Crystal Water, again, you use these items for 1 point stat bonuses or 40 points for HP. You can use up to 10 of each. And they unlock this little grid. You can see it has 10 points for all the stats here and then 400 for HP. I'll show you what that looks like when it's all filled up. Because of course I've filled up Celis, because she's the best. And that's what it looks like when it's all filled up. So she's got 10 point bonus on all of those stats and 400 to HP. It's small, but it's nice. Way of bumping up your favorite characters a bit. Again, you get those through the record dungeons, the brand new ones. And yeah, just cool little stat bonus. So equipment, you have 3 options: upgrade equipment, combine equipment, and reforge equipment. Upgrade is basically where you level your equipment up. You see it says level X out of 20, and for 6-star stuff it would be 25, and it adds 5 points to, or 5 levels for each star beyond that. And you use Scarletite to upgrade your weapons. Mostly you're just going to hit optimize and do it. You could use other equipment if you had some trash gear, but it's generally not worth doing that. If you want to do armor, then again, it uses adamantite. Optimize will never pick the wrong type because it's inefficient. And also, there's something I don't have any in my inventory, so it's hard to show off, but there is one that'll show up at the bottom called Rosetta Stones that you'll get sparingly through events that can be used to upgrade your augment. You see it says augment here. Gear can be augmented a certain amount, and that increases its primary stat, so that's really good. You probably want to use that on weapons that have an elemental boost when you get them, and never on armor, because who cares about increasing defense or resistance? Not me. Do it if you want. I can't stop you. Combine equipment. When you have 2 duplicates, you can combine them into a more powerful piece of armor that can be further upgraded. When you've combined a piece twice, you can reforge it. You can see all of these started out as 5 stars, and they've been upgraded to 8 stars. It costs a lot of gil to do this, so it's not really recommended early on, but it does give nice stat boosts, so up to you. Now you can see I have 2 pieces that say, not enough materials, and that's because the 6-star dark matter, which it's asking for here, and I have 0 of, it doesn't exist in the game as of yet. Has not been released. So you can't take 6-star equipment up to 9 stars yet. And it looks... It's expensive. If the cost stays the same, it's going to be 18 million gil, which is more than half of what I have. And I have a fair bit of gil, so yeah. That's going to be something if they ever release that. So that's equipment. Next is abilities and orbs, and you have create abilities, hone abilities, shatter abilities, and orb exchange. Create abilities, of course, is where you create abilities, and abilities are important for your characters to do the stuff they do when they're not using their soul breaks. And a lot of times their soul breaks are ability dependent or improve your abilities. Anyways, blah blah blah. This is your all category. It shows you, this is I think the most useful display, which you can change. You can change to have materials, and that would just put everything that you can make at the top, and that could get obnoxious because it doesn't organize them beyond a basic organization. Could have type, which is kind of useful, but rarity puts the best stuff at top, and you can see with the stuff that says not enough what you can't make. So this all category again, and there's just too much stuff in there, but you can move to these tabs and subcategorize. See black magic, white magic, summoning, and it's sorted by rarity, so it's nice split. Although this actually, the type toggle is kind of nice here because it splits it by element, which is really cool. At least for black magic it does. For white magic, it splits it by what it does. So you have healing stuff, you have your Asuna-esque stuff, you have status support, holy damage, so there is some element. And then summoning, again, split by element. That's cool. Physical is not split, I don't think, by anything. Support. Nope, just one category. Yeah. But Spellblade is, because Spellblade is very element important. And Other. So this is not split by element, but it does a cool thing where Other is kind of a catch-all for a bunch of job-centric abilities. And this actually nicely splits them up into those jobs. So you have Dragoon, Monk, Thief, Knight, Samurai in group 2, Ninja, Bard, Dancer, Machinist, Darkness, Sharpshooter, Witch, and Heavy Physical. So that's actually kind of cool. Type is nice, rarity is nice, have materials is okay, I guess. That's where you make your abilities. I'm gonna do a video on abilities because there's a lot to cover in abilities. They're important. Hone abilities, because when you make them, they only come with a limited number of uses. So honing them up, you can hone them up to 5 times. Each time adds, for most abilities, 2 uses. And they start at 2, so they'll go up to, let's see here, rank 4. So most will go up to 10. Healing abilities start at 4 and will go up to 12. And summon abilities start at 1 and go up to 6. The reason for that being that summons are always, or almost always, AoE, and they usually hit multiple times, so they're a little more powerful than your single target stuff that a lot of the other schools use. Anyways, yeah, so I always sort your honing by materials because your hones get expensive. It's, again, I believe it's additive, although it could be multiplicative, I'm not sure. I never pay attention to that anymore. Anyways, so it shows you how many it's going to take, how many you have, and what the cost will be. And let's just do, actually no, that takes Dark Orbs, blah. I need to save my Dark Orbs. Let's do FFRK. Yeah, why not? I use that a lot. Move that up to rank 4. And rank 5 is the max. I don't know if I said that already. I'm not good at keeping track of this stuff. And that is that. You can also, if you don't use certain abilities, if you've outgrown abilities or you have extras or you get them from events and you're not going to use them because sometimes new abilities are event prizes, you can shatter them. Let's unlock Soulburn here and I'll show you. I'm not actually going to break it because I haven't decided whether I want to use it or not, but you can select any number or a certain number, maybe up to 10. And you go to Shatter Confirmation and it shows you what orbs you're going to get. I think it's about half the number of orbs that it would take to make them, plus half the number of orbs you've used to hone that ability. So it's diminishing returns. You don't want to do it a lot, but hey, sometimes you need them orbs. Now, Orb Exchange. For rarities 1 through 5 stars, you can trade up and down orbs of a certain type, so power orbs here. I could use minor power orbs, which I have 98, and convert them into lesser power orbs at an exchange rate of 10 to 1. And I'm not actually going to do it, but you trade them up at an exchange rate of 10 to 1 to the next rarity, or 1 to 10 if you wanted to trade down for whatever reason. Oops. And it's always orbs of the same type. You can't trade across types, sadly. And you can't trade up into 6-star rarity either, or downward from 6-star rarity. But it's good if you need a certain number of orbs of a certain rarity. It can save your butt. It can get really expensive though on the Gil. It is Gil expensive. Alright, last category, Magicite. Upgrade Magicite, break Magicite level cap, and Magicite inheritance. Upgrade is just like with growth eggs. It just is using the Arcana items to give XP to your Magicites. And I'm not going to do that on a 2-star, but it's good for getting your Magicites leveled up quickly. Because they can take a while, especially once they start getting like level 90 plus. Break Magicite level cap, very similar to using memory crystals on characters, except that Magicite don't have memory crystals. And you need to use another copy of that same Magicite to break their caps at 50, 65, and 80. What that means is you need 4 copies of a single Magicite to get it to 99. And that is probably what you'd be grinding for a lot in the Magicites. Magicites are always considered a big grind, and that's a big part of the reason. Is you need 4 of a particular Magicite to get it to 99. As you can see, I have several 4-star Magicites at 99, and every 3-star Magicite at 99, so I've gotten quite a few copies of various Magicites. Especially, it's random which ones you get at the end, so you can just get screwed by RNG pretty bad there. Lots of grinding. Magicites are fun. Magicite inheritance. When you get a Magicite to level 99, you can start feeding it other Magicites to increase its stats. So you can see I have quite a few, 6 with their inheritance levels maxed. 3 across the top there, and 3 stars down here. See, the stats are maxed there. I'll show kind of how it works. I'm working on Dullahan here. And inheritance level, I've gotten up to 64 out of 70, so they have 70 points that they can have increased per each stat. And you select Magicites, it's going to show you how much those bars get lifted up and how much the stats get boosted. And they can also, actually, yeah, maybe I'll show that too. If you go to confirm, there's abilities that can be passed on. So they have a blank slot. The final slot there is blank. And you can use one of the combined Magicites that is being consumed to use one of its own compatible abilities. It has to be compatible. Can't use different elements, but non-elemental or matching elemental abilities can be passed on to the inheriting Magicite. Cool. We're not doing that though. Just an example. Just a little sample. And that is that. I'm going to be doing a Magicite video too, because there's a lot of complex stuff there. But that is your upgrades and inventory. I have no idea how long this video has gone for. This is the end of my navigation series, so I'm really hoping to come back with something a little more exciting, a little less dry, something that actually gets into the deeper stuff in the game. So if you have stayed with me through all of these 4.5 videos, I want to thank you very much, and I really appreciate the watching, and I guess I will see you next time, hopefully with something more exciting. Goodbye.